everyone, and welcome back to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. Myself and Jack today. Calvin's at work, so we thought we'd just do a wee one to review last night's game. So, Jack, how are you doing, mate?
I'm fine, mate. Obviously, I was out at Pennycook last night, my first Hibs women game of 2022, so it was good to get a win. It was really nice to see everybody again, and I got to meet somebody after the telly. I got my photo with Leanne Crichton after the game, so if you look out for that on the socials, it was good. Leanne was really nice. She's a great person, so it was great to sort of see her, a Scotland legend. You don't get a chance to see players like that very often, so aye.
Good man. I was at Fir Park last night. Last minute decision to go, and it was good. I enjoyed it. So let's jump right into it then, Jack. Let's start at Fir Park. So obviously a 0-0 draw. When you seen the team sheet, Jack, what was your thoughts?
I was surprised. It was a bit of a higgledy-piggledy team, to be honest. And obviously, I didn't know Hanlon was injured until I was told by people that were at the Hibs women game that they'd seen Hanlon come out with sort of stookie on his leg, and he had to get helped out to his car by the physio after the Cove game, I think it was. So obviously Hanlon was injured, but I think Sean Maloney did well to sort of make a defence out of what we already had. And from what I heard, the defence were quite solid last night. So I think I was happy with the team sheet when I saw it. I was like, it's a bit different, but we'll cope with it just fine. So I thought it was a decent team considering, you've got Clark out, Melkerson apparently got stretchered off in a bounce game. So you're obviously going to be doing without him for a wee while. And then you have your suspension of Porteous as well. So I think it was as good as it could have been. I think that was the strongest lineup that Maloney could have put out.
I definitely agree, mate. I think when obviously you're missing Porteous and Hanlon, the defence really just picks itself. It was good to have McGinn back last night. I thought he played well. But apart from that, there was no real surprise inclusions. I thought it was very similar to what I expected it to be. I thought maybe Mitchell would have started, but apart from that, a good team. So, first half was an interesting one. I think both teams were good on the ball, trying to move it about, and we defended really well. Rocky took a few sore ones. Obviously, he got pushed into the wall by Van Veen, then was sort of defending a ball out for a goal kick, and Jordan Roberts pushes him into the advertising board. So, he took a few dull ones, but going forward, mate, we weren't very great. I thought we didn't really create much going forward. There was a couple of times we got a corner, but obviously led to nothing. So I don't know if you've seen much of the highlights of that, Jack, but from what you've read anyway, what did you make of the first half?
To me, it was just like it's the usual that we've been seeing for quite a past few games, that there's too many backwards and sideways passes. You will find the hardest pass when there's a more simple one. And I think overall it was just a bit of a disappointing first half, in terms of we weren't creating much, but we were solid at the back. And I think against a team like Motherwell, that's what you have to do. You have to be solid at the back. And I was glad to hear that Big Rocky had another good game. So I was quite, and it was good to see positive stuff about Newell, to be fair, as well. I think a lot of people are saying, what he did, he put in a shift. So I think that's good to see that maybe Joe's using the criticism he's got and he's sort of building himself up. Because to be fair, I don't have much against him as a player. I do like him and he's a really nice guy. So I think it was great to hear that Newell had a decent game. So for my views in the first half, I think we defended well, but going forward, we need to sort of be more direct and be a bit more creative.
You're spot on, mate. I think Newell first half anyway was looking to actively move the ball forward, which is better. I think that was really my biggest criticism of the midfield against Cove. So it's nice to see that, first half that looked good. But you're right, there was still a few occasions where the ball was easier to go for backwards and forwards. But that's just going to take time to. I understand why they do it. I think they're trying to open the team up, but if it's not working, I think you need a plan B. And that was the case in the first half. It just wasn't working. So that really sums up the first half, because it was uneventful. There was nothing really happening, and the second half is probably a bit more eventful. So, the game's rolling on, Jack, and then there's a dodgy tackle towards the middle of the second half by Liam Donnelly. And he gets a second yellow for it, but it's an absolute horror tackle. One that's deserved of a straight red. And I don't know if you've seen Graham Alexander's post match, but he said it was never a red card, which is obviously just trying to defend his player. So what did you make of the red card?
I actually saw a video of it that was put on Twitter, and it is every day. I mean, it was shocking. I mean, I know the referee didn't have much of a choice, but to give him the second yellow, because it'd be a bit stupid to give a player a straight red when they're already on a yellow anyway. I think referees do that anyway. It's just easier for their paperwork, I suppose. But yeah, I think Graham Alexander, he's the sort of guy that likes to do a bit of saber rattling and complain. He's a bit like, he's in the same mould as Jim Goodwin to me, that he'll complain just about everything. He's a very angry man, and I think, I know he won't openly say, "Oh, that was a red card," but I think it was a shocking challenge, and it was deserved of the second booking, and I'm off. And what annoyed me was we didn't have more of a go of it when they went down to 10 men. But I think I heard a lot of comments, and I sort of agree with this, with what I've saw from the game, that Motherwell were actually better when they went down to 10 men at keeping the ball. I mean, we couldn't get the ball back off them.
You could definitely see that. And Alexander got sent off as well for complaining about the red card, which, you know, you're obviously going to try and defend your player, but that's undefendable.
Like
that
I
one.
said, saber rattling. He loves a bit of that.
It was never anything other than a red card. And like you see, mate, when Motherwell went down to 10, I think they kept the ball better, but there was two chances for Hibs in the second half towards the end of the game. So the first one, Ewan Henderson puts a ball across the box, and you know, it looks like it's gonna bobble in, but no one attacks the ball, and that really summed up our night last night. I think you know, no one was willing to make that risk, take that risk of, I'll put my foot out. Dre Wright, I think if he had an extra 2 yards of pace, it would have been a goal, because he was just getting to the ball as it was going past him. So I think if Nisbet was there in the box, I think as well, it's a goal. But it's unfortunate. And then the massive talking point of last night was Doidge's chance. So the ball gets whipped in and he's onside. I think he maybe was a bit like, oh, I've been caught offside the past game, so I'll watch my run here. But he's onside, and Nisbet's waiting for the ball across the box, and he just lifts it over Liam Kelly over the bar. It really summed up the night. So that was really all the chances in the second half. To be honest, there wasn't really much to the game, and it's a frustrating one. Frustrating to not, you know, come away with 3 points, because I thought in spells we looked good. We had, you know, obviously no shots on target for the third game in a row in 90 minutes. Obviously we had one against Cove to win it, but Jai, what does that really say to you about this team that we've had 3 games in a row with a shot on target?
It's really, really worrying to me. I think it shows that players like Melkerson are needed in the team, that we need these big creative influences like Henderson, like Melkerson, like Mueller. I think when you get Mueller playing alongside the likes of Melkerson, that'll really complement how Mueller is as a player. I just think it's showing up all the issues that we've had all season, to be honest. And I've said this so many times about Maloney. Rome wasn't built in a day. He needs to build his own team. He needs to really implement who he is as a manager onto the team. And I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's just another Cathro," or you stop blaming Jack Ross. I'm sorry, but what Jack Ross has done to us is going to be lingering for a long time, unfortunately. It's hard to get out of that mindset. And that's what happens. You look at Jack Ross when he first came in after Heckingbottom left. He took a very long time, actually, to get some of the Hecky hospital passes out the team. So I think you've looked at it with Jack Ross and coming in after Heckingbottom. You've got to look at it like that with Maloney coming in after Jack Ross. That it's going to take time. And he needs to get his players. He needs to get his style of play. So I think for me, it's concerning, but we're in a massive transition phase right now. And I think Joe Newell said as much in the paper, which, by the way, I thought that interview he must have spoke very well. Obviously, it's a newspaper article, so I can't tell if he spoke well, but you know what I mean? He must have spoke well to the newspaper people, because I thought everything he said was spot on about, you know, it's growing pains, it's a transition period. You just need to bear with us. I think we've said it so many times, Maloney's a manager that we really need to back and invest our faith in, because he will provide us with the goods. It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to look at it. You'll look at when Pep first went to Man City or when Alex Ferguson first went to Man United. It takes a while for the revolution to happen. And I think Maloney's building something special. You know what I mean? He's going to turn us into a team that's going to be challenging at the very top and be challenging for silverware. But until you have Jack Ross signings, I think picking up on Calvin's point about you sign St Mirren players, you're going to get St Mirren football. I think when you still have Jack Ross's some of these more poor signings and you have Jack Ross's style of football, this is still going to be a persistent problem.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree, mate. I think I was saying it in our WhatsApp, but you notice that Maloney's players and Mueller are the ones that are actively looking to drive us forward, which says it all really. I think Rocky man of the match on the Hibs side again. Mueller played really well for the period of time that he was in the game. Henderson looked all right when he came off the bench. Mitchell, who I've not touched on yet, was absolutely frightening when he came off the bench. That burst of pace that he had towards the end of the game, and he got wiped out as expected. But he's very quick, and I think that's probably what we're missing now. Boyle's left, but I don't think Mitchell's is Boyle's replacement. But I think that's all positive signs. So Jack, lastly, just last thing about the Motherwell game. The first Motherwell game last night. What did you make of Maloney's post-match interview? He obviously said he was happy with the game, disappointing we never took the 3 points. So what did you make of that?
I think he said everything that he needed to say. For me, I thought it was a brilliant post-match. I think Maloney, obviously you can see he's still getting the media confidence. He can be a bit stuttery at times, and he doesn't know what he's quite saying. But that'll come. I work in football media, and I know that sometimes if a coach or a player isn't quite used to the camera, they can be like that. I think I've had it at City. The assistant manager Kenny wasn't quite used to originally, and he's developing. So but I thought Maloney all his points were spot on. And I think I've seen your comment on Twitter saying he's not going to automatically lambast the players when he doesn't need to. I think he was measured. He made his points very well. So I think he made all the right noises. He made all the right points. So I was happy with it.
Yeah, I was a bit confused that he said we should have taken all 3 points, because I think it was a very evenly matched game. I don't think anyone done enough to win it. But I think he's not going to come out and say it was shocking, because that does nothing for the players' confidence. And I thought it was a relatively positive one. I think I don't think he's got the confidence in front of the media yet, but I think that'll come. But like I say, good of him to notice that it was a decent performance, and I think we move on from that. I think it's obviously important the next 2 games. We need to have a shot on target. Livingston on Saturday. It's a big test. I think they're a hard to beat team against us most of the time, or against anyone really. Rangers only beat them 1-0. So they're a hard to beat team, and it's going to be a tough ask. So we'll see what happens there. We'll come on to that in a wee bit. But that's game one against Motherwell out the road. So Jack, you were at Pennycook Park watching the women last night. So when you seen the team sheet, again, same question, what was your thoughts on the team?
I was really happy. I think it was a really strong team considering the injury problems we have right now. So we've not got Rachel Boyle. She got an ankle injury against Rangers. You've got Leah Eddy out as well. You've got Ailey Adams out long term, obviously, because injury she picked up at Tynecastle. So I think considering the injury list, we put out a really strong team last night. Actually had a really strong bench. Obviously, my wee pal Rhea, she's back from her loan at Boroughmuir Thistle. She did get to play last night. Dean didn't actually make any changes. But the bench was really strong as well, which is quite good to see. And I thought, I was really, really happy. Gabby English back between the sticks ranks, which was needed. Actually, I think Emily's confidence might have been a bit short after the trip out to Mulgai, and I think it was good just to put Gabby back and maybe get a bit more of that leadership at the back end with Gabby's communication. So I was really, really happy. Strong start in 11. I didn't have any complaints at all from that, and it was just great to see a strong team out again after the injury woes. And I've got to say, it was interesting putting Notley out as a fullback, but she was like a duck to water out in that position, considering she doesn't play there often. Thought she was outstanding last night. So, a really strong team, all things considered.
Do you think Do you think that might be Dean's preferred? Obviously, when Rachel Boyle comes back, she'll slot back in over Kirsty Morrison, I'd imagine. But do you think that's Dean's preferred starting 11 now?
Definitely. Definitely. Now that we've got Maloney and McGregor back as well, you can see what he's trying to do. And I think it's excellent. Obviously, once we have a full strength squad and those injuries sort of cleared up, then we've really got, we'll be in a good place. I think Dean can start really properly implementing his game plans and what he wants to do. Because obviously, I think some of his football is reliant on certain players being fully fit. So,
Aye.
yeah, I think so. But it was a good team. It was definitely a good lineup to get put out, and I was really happy with the shape and our formation. I thought we were spot on. Our game plan against Motherwell was spot on.
I think just touching on the starting 11 there, Jack, I've got it in front of me here, and you're right about all these injuries because Amy Muir's out, Leah Eddy's out, Rachel Boyle's out, and to still have that strong of a team, there might be other players out that I'm missing, but to still have that strong of a team is a good sign. I think that's what Calvin was sort of touching on a few weeks ago when we did our mid-season review, that we have got a strong team.
We do.
And it's good to see. I think we probably need to bulk up the bench a wee bit. Only having 4 on the bench isn't really an issue, I would imagine. But if we do get another 2 injuries, then we really are struggling. But
we are struggling, yeah. Definitely.
But no, a good team. I was surprised to see Gabby back in the sticks, but I think clean sheet, and I think Dean will probably try and give them both an equal run now,
which is good.
Good.
Absolutely.
So first half, Jack, pretty uneventful based on the Twitter. There was no tweets in the first half, so sum up the first half for us.
Yeah, it was an even contest. I think we came out, we showed a lot of intensity. We were, I think, better attacking wise, but Motherwell were solid in midfield and solid at the back. I touched on it when I was talking at the start, but when you have an experienced head like Leanne Crichton in your defence, that's going to help immediately. I mean, Crichton marked Alexa out the game. She properly marked Alexa out the game, and I think that was a problem. In the first half, was just trying to wear Motherwell down, and it wasn't like we were playing badly. Some great play out on the wing from Amy Gallagher, especially. She was absolutely rapid. Kavanagh, she was going through the middle sometimes as well, which was interesting to see her shift in. You had every ball that went out to Morrison, even if it was a difficult ball and it wasn't the best ball, she was getting on the end of it and causing Motherwell a lot of problems down that side. So it wasn't for wanting trying. It was just a fact of Motherwell were really well drilled at the back, and Leanne Crichton especially. It's not very often I praise opposition players, but I think Leanne Crichton, and you consider how long she's been around football and that sort of veteran status that she has, and she was Motherwell's best player last night for me. If you look at a player match from a Motherwell point of view, it was Leanne Crichton, because Alexa's a difficult player to deal with, and she marked Alexa out the game. Also, ex-Hibs Katie Rice played really well for them as well. So I think it was difficult to wear Motherwell down. And I think we were so unfortunate with some of our chances. Alexa had a good few chances where she was that close. She was nearly had it rolled over the line, and the Motherwell keeper would get it. And unfortunately, I think Alexa was marked out by the referee. The referee had a target on her back. Every time Alexa was going into 50-50s, the referee was giving her a talking to. And I thought, that's not right. It was a contact sport. It was a bad one where she was doing a 50-50 with Crichton, and Crichton went right in and stuttered her head off a pole. After the sort of behind the goals, which when you get at these non-league grounds, to be fair, you got to watch out for them. Yeah, so she did sort of accidentally cause Crichton a sore there, but you could tell she was mortified when the referee went and spoke to her. But the first half was an even contest. Motherwell solid at the back, us solid in attack, and sort of cancelled each other out. Motherwell were very focused on just soaking up our pressure and trying to get forward when they could, whilst we were focused on just continuing pressing them. I thought that's what you've got to do in that situation. A team like that is difficult to break down. But they're night and day for the team that they were at last season at the start of the season. You've got to remember, last season we beat them 6-0 twice. Or it was 6. Anyway, it was either 6-0 or 4-0. It was either 6-0 twice or 6-0 and 4-0. I can't quite remember. But we did beat them 6-0 last season. Beat them 4-0 at the start of the season. So they're night and day for the team that they were. And like I said, that's because they've got Crichton playing now for them. She is going to instantly show things up the back. You've got Carla Boyce, who used to play for us, in prolific form, and I thought we dealt with her brilliantly last night. I think Joelle especially. Joelle had Carla in her back pocket when she was emptying her pockets when she went back in. Keys, Carla Boyce. So I thought we dealt with Motherwell's threats, because they have Hay. She's a Celtic Academy product, so she's obviously no crap if she's came through the Celtic Academy. So, yeah, we dealt with their main threats really well in the first half. It was just a case of Lady Luck wasn't on our side of the chances, and that Motherwell were very well drilled at the back.
Aye. So 54 minutes on the clock, Jack, and the ball hits the net, thankfully, from a Hibs side of things. So Kirsty Morrison scores low cross into the box, and she pings it top bin. So what was your thoughts on the goal, Jack? Was it a good goal?
Great move for us, first of all. I think you get out to, I'm pretty sure it was Gallagher that put the ball in for her. Get out to Gallagher. Gallagher just runs at the Motherwell defence, pings the ball in, and Morrison knows where the goal is. I think it's one of those ones where I think I call it a Doige special. It's right in front of the goal, and it's a bit of a scrappy finish, but it goes into the back of the net. It was brilliant for Kirsty because I think she'd been absolutely fantastic all night, and really, really solid, getting on the end of it and really trying. So she deserved that. If there's any player, I think there's only one player that deserved a goal more than her, to be honest, and it was Alexa, because Alexa was just so unfortunate. But Kirsty, brilliant fish, brilliant move for us though. We get the ball at the back of the park. Gabby's like, right, go left, goes out to Gallagher. Gallagher just runs at their defence, sees Morrison, pings the ball in. Morrison gets on the end of it, and there you go, 1-0 Hibs. And it was just beautiful football to watch, and that's what we can do when we're up at top gear, and we can get that sort of defence into attack and really get the shift going. That's what we're capable of. It was frightening. It's frightening how fast we were. Build out for the back, get it to Gallagher. Gallagher whips it in. Morrison, just absolutely outstanding stuff for us, and a great finish as well, because it's easier to miss them than it is to score them.
Aye, for sure. So obviously finishes 1-0, Jack. Was there any other real talking points for the second half, or was it just cancelling each other out like it was the first half with a goal added in?
Pretty much, that was it. Motherwell had a few chances of their own, especially towards the end. Had a few corners that we sort of struggled to deal with, but eventually managed to get it away. We had a few chances of our own. I think the most unlucky one was Alexa, which is why I was saying she really deserved a goal. A ball comes in, a great ball for Maloney, who I think she runs Morrison close for player of the match. Maloney was outstanding. It's so great to have her back, because you get that spark in midfield when Maloney's there. But Alexa was this close. She gets it. Motherwell keeper misjudges it, comes off the post. She goes for it again, but unfortunately at this time it goes over. So that was a really big chance to make it 2-0. And I thought our game management after that was actually spot on. Just towards the end, Dean was shouting, Joelle was shouting, just get it in the corner. I think that's what you do against a team like Motherwell, because once you sort of frustrate them and you slow things down, they begin to panic and sort of realise that they're maybe not going to get a goal back. So it was just a case of, we ran it into the corner towards the end, and it was a very well earned 3 points. Solid. I think Dean's game plan was spot on of, don't force a second goal if we don't have to. 1-0 up, we were sitting pretty. It didn't look that badly threatened. And Motherwell didn't really have any real chances at all, because they are a team that I think supposes they focus on defending and then try to hit you out on the counter. So, yeah, I think we're spot on. And it was a very well-earned, solid 3 points, a great performance from everybody. And that's all you can ask for, really. And it's grinding out wins like that that's really going to help against teams like Motherwell that are investing money. They are looking to go full time. They've got a big experienced player like the likes of Crichton in their team. So you can't ask for much better. And like I said, they were really tough to break down. And there were tough conditions on the night. The ball was bobbling about on the pitch, something terrible. So I think, all things considered, it was a brilliant 3 points. It's great to get back on the horse after the nature of the defeat against Rangers.
Aye, very true. And I think that gives us a wee bit of confidence boost. We'll briefly touch on it before we preview the Livingston game, Jack. We'll touch on the women's game this weekend. So we're in Scottish Cup action on Sunday. We were meant to be playing Partick, but that's been rescheduled. So an easier tie than we could have asked for against St Johnstone. They had obviously SWPL2 mid-table and that. So Jack, do you think the win last night is going to give us a confidence going into that, or do you think we have every right to be confident regardless of how we played last night?
I think it does give us a confidence. It proves it can be solid, and that when a team's tough to break down, they're very physical, which is basically every SWPL2 team's like that. Mm-hmm. It gives us that boost that we know we can deal with teams like that. If we're patient and we just get the ball on the deck and play football, we know we can grind out these sorts of results. Now, I'm expecting it probably to be quite a high-scoring game for us, 4 or 5-0 like we did against Kilmarnock. I think I wouldn't compare it to Stirling Uni or Dundee United. Dundee United are a completely different team from what we played. And also Stirling Uni are, of course, part-timers and they're all students. So you've got to remember that their fitness levels aren't quite up to scratch. I think St Johnstone, they've just recently been taken over for Genfield Swifts. There used to be Genfield Swift women's team. St Johnstone have stepped in, so they've got access to all St Johnstone's facilities. Although I hope Callum Davidson's not giving them a talking to, or else it might be a cricket score. But I think St Johnstone are a good side. They've got Grant Scott, our old manager, in as their manager, which I was very surprised when that happened. When he left Glasgow City, obviously he was in interim coach at Glasgow City. Once Eileen Gleeson came in, he stepped down and then became a St Johnstone manager. So they're a good team. They're going places. You can tell the ambition is to get promoted at some point. That's not going to happen this season. They're way away off the mark in the race unless another team folds and they manage to get in like Partick did, which I doubt. But I think that they are a decent team and it is going to be a tough game. But we've got the confidence that we know we can break these teams down and that we can grind out results against them. Yeah,
for sure. I think having that win last night, I think Shannon Leachman said it in our interview after the game that just gives them that wee bit more confidence going into it. Because they know they played so well last night and the past couple of games. We're unlucky. Good result against Celtic, probably a wee bit unlucky against Rangers. But
you've always got the 12th man when you play Rangers, unfortunately.
Well, that is very true.
Sorry, Charlie. One thing I'd like to say about St Johnstone is I think we'll see a heavily rotated team, which is good. I'd like to see Ria and Rosie be given a start, give them a chance. So I think Dean, maybe that's the reason he didn't make subs last night, is because I think he's planning on rotating the team, so keeping Ria and Rosie fit so that they can play a full 90 or play 80 minutes or 70 minutes against St Johnstone. So I think we will see a rotated team. Maloney will definitely get benched because she's just come back for a serious injury and she's played 2 full 90 minutes in a row. So I think she'll get dropped to give her a rest, and we'll see, the likes of Rosie Livingston, which I think would be great to see her get a chance at 15. And obviously Ria as well, who is a fantastic player. Ria's career's going like that. She's on an upwards trajectory. So it would be great to see Ria step in. St Johnstone's a team she knows well. Obviously she played against them with Birmingham Thistle. So I think definitely we'll see a heavily rotated team, which is a good thing, because you want that in the cup against second division opposition, is you want to see players get their chance and get minutes in their legs.
Obviously there's only like four players they can really go between, I would imagine. But you're right. I think all 4 of them will play. Well, maybe Emily Much, will she play?
It's interesting to see what he'll do with that. She might, because he did do that in the SWPL Cup games against he played over against Dundee United. He had Gabby in for Stirling.
I remember that.
Yeah, Gabby in for Stirling, and he put Much in for Dundee United. So he might do that. But it'll be interesting. Gabby kept a clean sheet. It was actually quite funny because Gabby had her. She'd be like that hungry keeper. She's like Gabor Crilly with her joggies on. It must have been too cold for her. So to be fair, she had been home for Christmas in Florida. So I think it'll take a bit of getting used to again.
Aye. So just last before we wrap up the preview for this, Jack. So what's your score prediction for Sunday?
I'm going to say 5-0 Hibs.
I think we'll win 6 or 7. I'll go 7-0. I think we'll win 7-0. I think just that
famous 7-0.
A convincing win. I think that's what we need. It's just a big win to put us in the hat for the next game. And we've got
the lads how it's done against St Johnstone in a cup game, eh?
Aye, but I think a confident win will do us the world of good to move on.
Well, I think just for the goal scoring, it'd be great if Alexa starts to get her a few goals, because she's been on a drought since the derby at Easter Road. So
that's right.
See her get some goals, but I can win confidently. I think 5-0 for me.
Aye. So we're moved back onto the men's game then, Jack. We're playing Livingston on Saturday. We'll both be there. Calvin will be there, and my dad and my brother is going to be there as well. So the 5 years will be the only ones in attendance, probably.
Yeah.
No, what do you think about Saturday, Jack? Obviously, as I said earlier, Livingston are usually a hard nut to crack. For whatever reason, they usually play really well against Hibs, and the teams about them in the league. Obviously, we're not about them in the league just now, but you can. Last season and that they were really good against us and what have you. So, Jack, what's your thoughts going into it? Do you think we'll be better because we're at home, or how do you see it going?
I think our lack of creativity is going to be a problem against Livingston because they're a very, very hard team to wear down. The last time we played them at Easter Road, obviously it was 2-0, and we had to really work for that. I think, to be honest, 2-0 flattered us. It really did. I think it took that moment of magic for Martin Boyle. I'm going to cry when I say that name, but it took that moment of magic and that back heel for Scotty Allen as well. It really took that second goal to really properly put Livy away, and I think that's it. Is they don't go away; they need to be put away. Livingston.
Yeah.
And for me, it's going to be a tough ask to get something out of that game. We really just need to buck up our ideas because Livy are a solid unit. They've got Stefan Omionga now, who has actually been bossing it in midfield for them, and I think he's going to be difficult to deal with in midfield, Stefan Omionga. So it is going to be a tough old game for us, but you know what? Something inside me, for some reason, tells me we're going to win. We're going to get 3 points. I don't care how scrappy it is, but I think Sean Maloney's honestly just got to drill it into the lads at this backwards, sideways. It's not going to work against a team like Livingston because at the end of the day, Livingston are a team that are the masters of that. Livingston are a team that pass you to death. Livy do two things. They'll either pass you to death or they'll play the hoof. And the problems we had in the air against Motherwell, I'm not overly confident as to how we'll deal with that. But I think we've got big boys like Rocky, so they'll deal with Livy's big threats. But yeah, for me, it's going to be tough.
I think having Porteous back will be a help because Porteous and I can't wait to watch Porteous and Rocky together.
It's going to be brilliant. Legs are going to get broken.
And throw Harry Clark in that mix. There's your back three for me. What a back three that is. So, Jad, what do you think? I agree with what you said there. I think it'll be a hard game. I think we're going to have to really be creative, and I think wouldn't it surprise me if he starts a creative player like Henderson, just to try and crack that Livy back line. So, what do you, on the subject of changes, Jad? Do you think obviously Porteous will come right back in? I would imagine. Do you think there'll be any other wide-scale changes?
Not for me. I don't think there's anything they can do. Melkerson's clearly not going to be in action for quite a while.
I think Maloney never touched on if he got injured or not, but I think he said he's going to need a few weeks to get up to speed. So hopefully he's in. I'd love to just see him on the bench.
Aye, even if he gets a wee 10 minutes or something like that. Aye. So I think for me, yeah, Henderson. I think Henderson will be a creative player. Came what I mean. I don't see Hanlon because he's injured, but I don't see Hanlon coming back. I think you'll see that back line of Rocky and Porto, and you'll go, that's our back two, and then or maybe McGinn in there as a back three as well. And then when we get Clark fit, you'll have Clark, Porto, and Bushiri as your back three. So I think there's not going to be any major changes for me, not that I could see, but so I think it's going to be a similar team, but Porteous is going to be in there. And I think Stevenson will stay. I think Stevenson will stay. We need him. He's absolutely fantastic. Every game he's played so far this season, he's been outstanding.
He's fantastic again last night, and got the captain's armband as well, which was
he's more of a captain than Hanlon. I'll say that.
Well, I thought with McGinn being vice, he would have got it, but obviously not. But you're right. I think I would probably start Mitchell, but I don't know if he'll persist with Doig or because I think Mitchell's better attacking than Doig. It looked like for that 5 minute spell he had.
I think you've got to look at the fact that it's a long old season in the Championship, and Blackpool have had a few postponements as well. So they've been playing catch up, and they were still in the Papa John's, I think, as well. So or whatever it's called now. I don't know if it changes its name every 5 minutes, that cup, but they were still in the English version of the Challenge Cup, and they were had a lot of postponements. So he's been playing a lot of games, and as you know, the Championship in England is a tough old slog. So I think his fitness is going to be an issue coming back up for there because the fact of where Blackpool are in the table as well, there's a lot of battling needing done. So yeah, I think his fitness coming up for that's going to be an issue, and that's maybe why Maloney won't be as confident to start him because he's also got to grow back into the Scottish game. I think it's been a while since he's been up here last, and it's very different styles of football that he's played in Scotland. Obviously, Hearts, he was under a certain Mr. Craig Levine. So
I personally can't remember him ever playing in Scotland, Jack. That must be a figment of people's imagination. I heard he was in some other team in the league, but apparently he's seen the light and came with the good guys. So
exactly, and he won't need to put up with Craig Levine football anymore. So, although Jack Ross football was still playing, wasn't a kick in the dock off Craig Levine football, to be honest.
Aye, so what? I think I don't think he'll make any massive
Nah.
changes. Maybe obviously Porteous will come right back in, I would imagine, and maybe he'll drop Josh Campbell like every Hibs fan's asking. But again, we didn't see what goes on in training and what have you. But so what's your score prediction, Jack? We're both saying we'll win, but what do you think the score will be?
I'm going to say a tight 1-0 win. That's it for me. Like a 1-0 win. And I'm putting Mueller down to score his first Hibs goal as well.
I think we'll win 3-0. I think I just think something will click. And I don't know why I've got this confidence that we're going to win 3-0, but I think it'll be something will click, and I think we'll just blow them away. I think Mueller will score. I think Henderson will score, and I think Rocky will score. The three new boys will all get a goal. But no, I think it'll be a confident. I think we need a confident win going into the derby, because the derby will take care of itself. There's no form goes out the window for those games. But
yeah, exactly.
I think we need a confident win for a wee bit of a confidence booster playing Hearts, because it'll be a tough game. Because they're playing relatively well for a change. So well, that really wraps us up for this episode, Jack. Unless you've got anything else you want to say before we wrap up.
No, that's nothing that's not been covered already.
Perfect. Well, until next time, come on, Hibs.